Welcome to another episode of Real Estate, Real Life, Real Talk, Real Live with the Real Secrets of Money with your host, myself, Damon, the agent. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. And if you're not following me, please follow me on all social media platforms. That is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads. Threads, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, Pinterest, all of those. Thank you. So, as always, I like to begin the wonderful world of real estate by talking about a subject that affects everyone in the real estate industry. So, my today's topic is choosing the right lender. And this is very critical, whether you'll know it or not. Whenever you're looking to purchase a home, unless you're using cash, you always have to start with a lender. Of course, you start with a real estate professional, but you always have to be approved for a home loan first. You need to know how much home you can actually afford. Many times people will see homes because with technology today, people can easily, freely see homes on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, Homes.com. So people love looking at houses. That's great. And then you have some people who, when they see houses, they want to actually go see the home. And there's nothing wrong with going to see the home. But many times when you call that listing agent, a lot of times the first question many of them ask you is, have you been approved for a home loan? And that's because unless a open house is being conducted on that particular property, most agents don't want to get in their car, drive to that property, which 9 times out of 10 is not theirs, just to show someone who has not even taken the first step in home ownership. The first initial step is getting approved for a home loan. Now, in many cases, lenders have their guidelines of what they need from borrowers. And in many cases, they will always check your credit score, your income, verify your taxes in many cases to see how much home you qualify for. Also, they'll put all those against your debt to income ratio to make sure that you can actually afford a home and that you don't go into foreclosure just based off those scenarios. That's the reason why they need that to calculate it, because they know, people see homes and some people have champagne taste, but beer money. Everybody wants to find the best things. So, but reality is they cost. So to make sure that people can buy those homes that are up in price, lenders have certain guidelines. But choosing the right lender is very critical. And the reason why it is, though, the lenders that you choose can make or break your deal. They can make or break your deal. I've had several deals over the year where the lenders messed up at the very last minute, meaning if we had a contract date of settlement, I've had deals to fall apart the week of settlement because of the lender. I recall a deal that I had 2 years ago where I had a lender and they didn't do their due diligence, but I'm a real estate professional. So I assume that all lenders do their job. I don't tell them how to do their job, just like they don't tell me how to do mine. So we had a scheduled settlement date. We ended up extending the settlement date 2 more weeks, which went from 30 days to 45 days. And then after the 45 days, the day before settlement, the lender said they couldn't do the deal. Do you know how frustrating I was and the buyer? So I scrambled and I made several calls to one particular lender. She was able to save the deal. Now, I shared this story to tell you that depending on the lender you get, determines a lot of times how well your deal will be, whether the deal will actually close. Sometimes determine what your interest rate will be, determine if you're getting the best loan possible for yourself. So this is very critical and stuff. I don't want people just to assume that they can just always Google and everything. Please do your due diligence, ask the appropriate questions. A lot of times as real estate professionals, we always refer a preferred lender that we've worked with or that we know or assure us that they're going to get the job done. Now, I want people to really take this into consideration when they're looking for lenders and they're trying to determine which home to buy. Now, again, you want to make sure that the lender does a lot of things. You want to make sure that you're getting the best interest rate possible. You want to make sure that they're giving you a breakdown of charges. They used to be called a HUD one. Now it's called buyer disclosure. where you actually get to see the breakdown. So if you get approved for a certain purchase price, that it has a breakdown of your estimated payment, your estimated closing costs, your estimated interest rate. And the reason why I say estimated interest rate is because interest rates are not locked in until you are under contract. Lenders most times cannot always lock in an interest rate unless they have a contract that has been signed by both the sellers and the buyer. And then you also want to see if you also qualify for specific programs, that the lenders know which programs that you qualify for. Everyone does not qualify for the same program. Things vary depending on the areas that you live in. Things vary depending on your credit scores. Things vary depending on your income. I had one client one year, this was probably like 15 years ago. She made well over six figures. She was a single lady, drive a nice Mercedes Benz. She was looking for programs. Unfortunately, she did not qualify for programs because she earned over a certain amount. Many programs have income restrictions that many people are unaware of. Today in 2025, it's not like 2005. You had one point in time where a lot of people who first come, first serve, who would basically get qualified for the programs that were available. But then they started to analyze how the money was being distributed, and they saw that a lot of people who actually needed the program were unable to get so, because sometimes people such as that lady I was referred to, they'll get there because they didn't have any children, they didn't have to get babysitters, so the money would get depleted. So now they have prioritized that the people that they deem who really need it based off their income and also based off location, because we're in a tri-state area. So there are programs in DC that don't apply in Virginia. There's programs in Virginia that don't apply in Maryland. And there's programs in Maryland that don't apply anywhere else but Maryland. So location is critical when you're using these programs as well. But having the right lender can help you narrow it down to what specific programs you qualify for. So I just wanted to share all that. So I'm about to have one of my top lenders come on. So we're going to briefly hold a conversation and talk about some things. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, today's guest is Alvin Montilla, producing branch manager and mortgage broker with Forever Lending USA LLC. With over 7 years of experience in the mortgage industry, Alvin specializes in helping families navigate the home financing process from first-time buyers to a seasoned investor. As a broker, he has access to a wide range of loan products and lenders, allowing him to tailor situations that truly fit his client's needs. Alvin is also bilingual, serving both English and Spanish-speaking communities throughout the DMV and beyond. Welcome to the show, Alvin. How are you?
Hey, Damon. Thank you. I'm doing well. Doing
Man,
well. Thank you
thank
for
you. I
having me on your
appreciate
show.
you taking the time to come on briefly just to talk to the people who tune into my show. This is syndicated on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. So people are looking at this all over. So basically, I just want you to first, before I get into my question, tell us a little about you and everything that I already have not said.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Damon, for having me on your show. My name's Alvin. Started in the mortgage industry about 7 years, just like Damon said. Came from a background of professional baseball. I played professional baseball in my early career, right? And then got out of that. I've done several things, right? But eventually, I got into real estate. My grandmother owned the property in DC back then, and she was always into renting, and this kind of motivated me to get in deeper to the real estate game. And I took the mortgage side. I'm a more of a numbers person and like to strategically analyze and see how the numbers work and how people actually get into property. So that's how I got in. That's me.
That's great. That's great. So I have a few questions for you.
Yeah.
What are the biggest advantages of working with a mortgage broker instead of going directly to a bank or big lender?
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, it's a good question. So, just so you know, in my seventh career, I want to start by saying this. I tried everything. I went from retail. Well, I started in the call center, right? And then I went to the retail lending, which is just with a bank, right? A mortgage company. And
Mhm.
now I just tailored it into a broker. And why did I do this, right? I went into a brokerage lending and I saw advantages for my clients. As the market is shifting, higher interest rates, more programs, a lot of different programs out there. I'm give more to my clients because every client is unique.
Mhm.
And being able as a broker to talk to 240 different lenders looking for your unique situation to
Mhm.
purchase a home is
Mhm.
huge in this market, especially where interest rates are at, especially where we have a lot of self-employed borrowers who make great money, but write off a lot and still have programs out there like non-QM loans, like bank statements and
Mhm.
DSCRs, and it's just out of your regular conventional, your regular traditional,
Mhm.
conventional FHA, VA, USDA. We all know about that, but
Mhm.
there's so many other products. So that's why broker is more an advantage because each client we could look for your unique and we could structure something personalized for them.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So, what are some common misconceptions that home buyers, especially first-time buyers, have about getting a mortgage, and how do you help them overcome those hurdles?
Yeah. Well, there's always a lot of hurdles. Sometimes I have borrowers think that they need to put 20%. I get that all the time, believe it or not.
Mhm.
Um, also another times I get when I get on the phone with clients, people think that I'm the realtor, and I got referred. The realtor actually referred them to me, and then
Right.
they think I'm like, no, I'm actually the mortgage person who's gonna analyze your finance
Right.
because your realtor wants he wants to basically know how much you buy, how much you can
Mhm.
buy, how much is your
Mhm.
purchase power. So the 20%, knowing that there is a mortgage lender out there that can structure a personalized mortgage plan, that there is down payment assistance program. No, you don't always have to bring, 40, 50, 60, 70. I mean, I've had borrowers close with $5,000. I mean, sometimes to get a rental, just for rental, you need to put 2 months down. I mean, I'm hearing stories nowadays that they got to put 3 months, 4 months. Um, so yeah, those are a little bit of the myths.
High
This
demand
program,
for rentals. That's why high demand for rentals and people with their credit. And in the past, a lot of landlords have been burnt. So now they want to ensure that this person can actually pay for renting their property. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. So yeah, those are the myths. It's always good to talk to a broker. Just to kind of, I like to hear the situation.
Mhm.
Um, I always do consider try to at least you need some money, right? I
Right.
say try to
Gotta
at
put
least
some
have your
skin in
down.
the game. Yeah, you gotta put some skin in the game.
You got to put some skin. You got to remember, lenders what they measure is risk, right? If
Hmm.
you're putting minimal down 3%, well, you're just basically giving all the risk to the lender. Yes,
Hmm.
it's going to be mortgage insurance. Yes, it's going to be maybe slightly higher rate. But I always say, listen, try to have at least a down payment, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's the 3%, whether it's the 3.5, closing costs, well, leave that to the realtor and to the
Hmm.
lender. There's great realtors out there like Damon, who's great in negotiating seller concession. And that also depends on the market too, right? I mean,
Hmm.
the realtor doesn't have a wand, but the realtor also has perception of what's happening in the market and
Hmm.
knows, if you need that type of assistance, then he knows what market, what type of house, where in the
Hmm.
neighborhood, see how long homes have been in the market, and they
Right.
could possibly negotiate some seller concession for you to cover those closing costs. And the lender could also give you lender credit, which we're starting to see that a little bit now. We weren't seeing that after the pandemic.
Right.
There was a big margin compression,
Hmm.
and you saw a lot of people just buying points, points, points. Now
Hmm.
it's kind of, I'm hoping it balances a little bit and it gets a little bit better. But let's see what happens. I think Colin Powell and Jerome Powell and President Trump just met, and hopefully, we get some type of where we're going with the market, and hopefully these interest rates will start dropping.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully.
Mhm.
So with today's changing market, what steps should buyers take now to get financially ready to purchase a home, even if they're not quite ready to buy today?
Listen, I always recommend, um, to always try to maintain and to work on your credit. I think credit, control what you can control, right? The market, we don't know. You have mortgage gurus, real estate gurus out there, and sometimes it's hard for them to maneuver where the market is going. So, as a lender, I always tell my buyers, control what you can control your credit, control your spending, save some money. If you want to buy a house, come down with a plan and save money, right? Fix little things on your credit. If you want, sit down with a mortgage advisor like me, right? That I can sit down and review your credit to see if there's anything that you could work on to get you ready to purchase that home. All right. So control what you can control. Don't worry where the economy or where it's going. If you're ready to buy a house, this is another thing I tell my bars. You ready to buy a house? Then buy it. Buy your house. You have your money, you have your income, you're ready to be a homeowner. You have to be ready to be a homeowner. So buy your house no matter what the economy is, because believe it or not, guys, I've seen, I'm going to say one. I sold a home in 2008 in Washington, D.C. I sold the home in 2008 based out of fear, not out of knowledge. And that home was sold for 500 something thousand. If today's market, if I would have sold and not sold based on fear and held that house, today I would have still had that house. I would have probably had $1 million something dollar home in my portfolio. You see what I'm saying? So houses haven't decreased in the past, I think 30, I think maybe it's past 70 years, right? I think it's only decreased twice. There are cracks in the market. There's always going to be a crack, but if you're on the long hold, buy your property. That's what I need to say.
That's good. Do you all have products for self-employed people? Because there's a lot of self-employed people here. Do you have loan products for them?
We have tons of programs for self-employed individuals. Even individuals. I currently have a loan right now for somebody who hasn't done their taxes. Actually, haven't done their taxes at all, and we're
And how
doing
many years?
2 years.
Okay.
And we're doing a bank statement loan. All right, it's a bank statement loan. And it's actually, yeah. So there's a lot of different loans out there. Like I said, there's so many different lenders, and each lender is willing to take certain risks. You gotta remember, it's all about risk.
Right.
There's a lender that's going to take this much risk. There's another lender who's going to take this much risk.
Right.
So if you want to buy a house and you're ready to buy a house, there's DSCR loans also. We have DSCR is basically, I'm saying the acronym, but let me just say it all out. It's called debt servicing covering ratio. What that means is if the mortgage payment covers if the rent is going to cover the mortgage payment, then you could buy a DSCR loan. And this could be a first-time investor. This could be a repeat investor. You have bank statement, profit and loss statements, wet VOE. That's called wet verification of employment. That we can actually purchase a home without looking at pay stubs, without looking at W-2s, right? As long as we have a verification from that employer, then we can purchase a home. There's so many programs out there. I could go on and on.
Yeah, I see. And listen, that's good information because I know quite a few self-employed people that could possibly use your services and everything. And nothing beats a failure but a try. So, speaking to you, seeing if they qualify, if they don't qualify, oh well. But if you never know, like you said, there are programs and ways to broker, certain situations to where they can actually be approved for a home loan to get a new home.
Right.
That's great, man. Listen, I really, really appreciate you coming on, answering all of these questions and everything. I will definitely, let me see. I think I got okay, somebody. Yeah, I think I got a comment right now. Yes. Yeah, no, yeah, but I was looking because I'm about to do my Q&A session real quick.
Okay.
So, but how can people contact you if they want to contact you?
Well, if they want to contact me, I could give you my direct number.
Say it real quick so I can.
703 332 5176. I'll repeat that. So it's 703 332 5176.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I
There we
just
go.
posted it for right there. So basically, if anyone wants to contact you, they can. If not, they can always DM me, and then if they interested in meeting you or
Correct.
talking to you, I would definitely, reach out to you about that. So
Correct.
listen, I thank you again, and we're gonna be in contact soon. And thank you for your time, Alvin.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you
All
for
right,
having me,
I'll
man.
talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Okay, that was Alvin Montilla. He's a great mortgage broker. Like he said, they have various products that they can actually help people to get in loans. I mean, to get in homes, whether you are self-employed or however, no matter what your credit is, they have many ways to broker deals to get people approved for home loans. Now, I know many people want to buy. People say, oh, my credit is not that great. But hey, listen, Alvin, he said he can help you. So just reach out and I'll make sure that you all are in contact if you want to speak to Alvin, especially if you have that on your bucket list to buy a home. Now, right now it's May 30th. We're about to enter June, but you still have time to buy a home before Christmas. So listen, start today. Don't wait until tomorrow, what you can do today. All right, real quick, y'all. I'm about to do my home of the week. Now I have several properties that are coming up to be on the market soon. I have a condo, 2-bedroom condo in Greenbelt that's coming up. I a also have a I'm sorry, a house, a single family home in DC. I have a townhouse in Waldorf coming, and I have a single family house in Suitland, Maryland. So, but right now I'm going to show you the house of today, which is right here. Hold on. Okay, right here. This is the house of the week. This house is a single family home that is over near the Washington Commanders Stadium. It is actually walking distance. This home would be a great home to live in, especially if you're a Commanders fan. If you're not, that's understandable too. But when your team comes to town, you can actually go walk to the game. This also could be a great rental property. As you see, this is a split level that's been well maintained by the homeowners. This house is very, very welcoming. It is 4 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. That's one bath. That's bedroom number two. That's bedroom number three. That's bathroom number two. This is the lower level. As you can see, this is bedroom number four, and that is bathroom number three. Of course, with the washer and dryer, has a nice sized backyard for entertainment, especially if you like to entertain, or if you even have a dog, you can actually, this is a great house. As you see, has a nice fence. This is definitely someone's home. This house is priced at 455. Like I said, it is in the area of Hyattsville, Maryland, which is right near walking distance to school. There's an elementary school walking distance. There's shopping that's not far. There's the Metro, Morgan Boulevard Metro, that is walking distance. This is a great home for any first-time home buyer or any investor who would like to purchase a home and actually rent it out. So that's the great home. So right now I have going to go into my Q&A session, and we're going to see what questions that we have from today's viewers. All right, I have to go through these channels. Let's see. Okay, first question of the day is, if I have no money to purchase a home, but I have great credit, can I still get a home loan? If I have no money to purchase a home, but I have great credit, can I still get a home loan? The answer to that is yes. as I was just mentioning and talking with Alvin, there are many programs out here. Now, if you have great credit and no money, here's the thing. Whenever you make an offer, you still have to put down a earnest money deposit. We call it an EMD. The EMD basically shows the seller how serious a buyer is. Now, when you say no money, I'm pretty sure that you're probably working, so you can use maybe one of your checks to use as your EMD. You have to put something down. As he previously mentioned, you have to put something in the game. Now, that EMD is always going to be credited towards your loan product and also or closing costs. But as a real estate professional like myself, we can talk about it, because what I can do is I can negotiate you getting some assistance from the seller. But you initially, like I also mentioned, that when you take the first step and you get approved for a home loan, when you make an offer, you also have to put something down. Otherwise, you have no skin in the game. So let's say if you make an offer and then the seller takes their house off the market with the hopes of you going to settlement, and you didn't put anything down and you just walk away, guess what? The seller's the one stuck. So nowadays, people put down an EMD to show good faith. That's why in many cases, no matter what the house is listed at and the purchase price that you're going to purchase it at, the recommended is normally minimum 1% of you putting the EMD. So if you're purchasing a home for 500,000, then 1% will be 5,000. Okay, the more that you put down on the EMD, the serious that it shows the seller that you really want that house. So again, can you purchase a home having no money but great credit? It is possible, but we will have to hold a discussion, because we will have to strategize and I will have to negotiate for you. And Alvin will also have to see what programs you qualify for to get you some money. So it is possible, because it happens all the time. And sometimes, in some cases, people even get the EMD back at the table, depending on how the offer was structured. So yes, it is possible. Let me go to my other question. Okay. What is the current state of the housing market? What is the current state of the housing market? Another great question. Now, this one I always like to tell people, depending on what time of the year, depending on the location, is going to always determine the state of the housing market. Now, the housing market has slightly, and I say slightly, shifted from where it was earlier this year. In some areas right now, depending on how well the house is priced, houses are still moving relatively quickly. You get multiple offers. But in other areas, houses such as in DC are sitting on the market longer than they were before. Now, especially in DC, where there are a lot of government workers who work there, and a lot of people have lost their jobs during the year, you have people who are somewhat reluctant to even purchase because they are unsure about their job right now. So, location plays a huge factor as far as the market, which state and how we are. We're in a tri-state area: DC, Maryland, Virginia. I just went to a settlement yesterday on a house in Virginia, Manassas, Virginia. That house was only on the market for a week. I have a house in DC that's been sitting. I have a property in Maryland that's getting a lot of traffic right now, but no offer. So depending on where the house is going to really determine what's going on in the market. Like I said, we're slightly shifting. Again, at one point we were in seller's market. We're slightly shifting to a buyer's market, because right now there's becoming more inventory on the market. More inventories gives buyers more options. When buyers have more options, they start to ask for everything: closing costs, kitchen sink. They might even ask for the newborn baby. Look, I don't know, but at the same time though, buyers have options. So, but in some cases, there are multiple offers still going on in the area, in Waldorf, in certain areas in Prince George's County and Montgomery County. There are multiple offers still going on. So this is why you always have to speak to your real estate professional, so they can give you the most professional advice depending on the area, because depending on where you buy, it's going to determine how you make the offer, what you can get, what you can't get. And that's always to be determined as far as which market we're in. And again, the seasons play a role, because right now we're in the spring, about to enter the summer season. That's normally the most busiest time of the year, because people are outside looking, because the days are longer and school break, so kids are out, so people are out looking. When winter month comes, things slow down, the days become shorter, it's cold, people don't want to be outside. So it's always situational. Great questions, though. I have one more question. I'm gonna skip that question because I kind of just answered this question. The question was, why aren't houses moving that well in DC? Kind of explained it about the government and things of that nature. And then sometimes, let me also add this with DC houses. A lot of times, some sellers still overprice their house in DC. And that because nobody wants to sell themselves short, of course, but a lot of times people are not realistic as far as the timing. Like, for example, we're in 2025. People still thinking the market is like it was in 2021. Even though that was only 4 years ago, things change like that. So, as quickly as things change, hey, it has a huge impact, but some people don't want to believe it. So that's why, you got everybody in DC think their house is worth $1 million. Everybody, because they listen to people. Oh, I sold my house for this. Oh, you can get them this. They selling houses for $1 million, and they don't factor in how much work has been put into that house that has sold for $1 million either. They don't factor in those things. They just look at the zip code. So, but let me go to this other question. Okay. If I want to buy a house next year and it's me and my daughter, can we do that? If I want to buy a house next year and it's me and my daughter, can we do that? The answer is yes. I'm assuming your daughter's over, 18, 21. But yes, parents buy houses with their kids sometimes, so that, yes, you all can do that. That's simple. You just have to, like I mentioned, get approved for a home loan. And then once you get approved for a home loan, then everything else falls into place. So, all right, y'all, I'll be back with my topic of the day. Give me 1 second. All right, all right. Listen, before I go into my topic of the day, I just want to say real quick, if you're not following me on all social media platforms, please make sure you do so. I am on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, and Pinterest. I know that's a lot, but all of them is / Damon the Agent. All right, y'all. My topic of the day is violence. I briefly want to talk about this topic because in this world, even in history, it is always violence going on. But I feel like nowadays it's just gotten so excessive. It's trickled down to the youth, and it's trickled down to nobody's caring about anything as long as it doesn't happen to me. But unfortunately, it affects everyone in your community. You see it on the news. Everybody knows someone who's been affected by violence. I've always told the stories. I've lost 2 brothers to gun violence in DC. I saw something that kind of bothered me, though. And I don't know what state this was in, but it was an older lady who was sitting in a car, and 4 youth went and saw her sitting there, went to the car, pulled her out, beat her up, took her car. She was dragging down the street, and then when they got caught and they in court, they feel like because they're juveniles that they can only be charged with so much. And because of that, people have no sense of life. I also saw something on social media, and this was in Houston, where a lot of people were saying that, and these were young people again, they were saying they don't care about the money, they don't care about having the girl or the house. They care more about how many bodies they can collect, like how many souls they can take. I think it's gotten so ridiculous and to the point that we've been so desensitized that we have no regards for life. We have no regards for human beings and everything. People want to become angry when something happens to their loved ones. But what about the youth? It's like we're not teaching them, we're not training them, we're not spending enough time with them. A lot of times when people have the mindset like these young people have, it's because people didn't invest time in them, didn't show them love, didn't encourage them. People get lost and they feel like they're more loved by their peers. That's why people a lot of times tend to go to the street. Violence affects us all, whether it's directly or indirectly. You can be driving and somebody, I saw that also on social media. A man got out of a car, started punching a guy in the face. And I don't know what took place before that, but what I'm saying to you is violence is all around us. We could choose violence or we could choose peace, but also we need to choose love, especially amongst the young people. So many people grow up with so much hurt and pain in their heart from their parents, from their parents letting them down. And when I say let them down, I'm not talking about doing everything for them. I'm saying I see a lot of adults these days over the age of 40 who always outside. They go to brunch every Sunday. They go to cigar bars. They spend all this time hanging out and socializing, but they rarely spend time with their kids. And a lot of them have kids. And I'm talking about kids under 18. They don't take that same time and spend on a weekend with their kids. They let their kids be with their grandparents or let their kids be amongst themselves and everything. But when you do that and stuff, you're neglecting your kids, whether you realize it or not, because they don't feel love. They don't feel like, as parents and everything, that you really care for them. And then these kids grow up and do all these crazy things that we see on TV. And then people say, oh, I don't know how my kid got like that. Well, let me tell you how your kid got like that. You, as a parent, not investing any time with them. You know, the most precious thing that we can ever have on earth is time, because we can't get that back. All the money you make, you can get money back. You can hit the lottery tomorrow. You can get money back, but you can't get time. Think about all the people that you lost, your loved ones that you lost. I'm sure that if you can spend time with them, you will take that over money, the ones that you love. And I say that we have only a short window when we're dealing with children, because after a while they become grown and they do whatever it is they want to do. But when I look on TVs and I see all the violence, like in DC, they had a curfew on Memorial Day because all the young people were at the wharf and Navy Yard causing violence and stuff. The first thing I said was, where are their parents? You understand? Because sometimes parents give the kids iPhones or iPads and let the kids do whatever. And they strolling on those social media, YouTube, picking up bad habits. Listen, parents. And I know I'm talking about violence, but I'm also talking to all the parents. Please, please, please invest time in your children. Just tell your kids you love them. Tell them, tell them that you care for them. Tell them you love them. Give them a hug. Do you know how important a hug is, especially from a man to their son or a man to their daughter? Many kids haven't been hugged. I saw, and this was on social media too, an uncle, his nephew had got in trouble and was handcuffed. His uncle was a police. He went over to him. He was fussing at him, and he gave his nephew a hug. And the moment he gave his nephew a hug, his nephew started crying. You all don't understand how much people have bottled up in them. Have you told your kids that you love them? Have you given them a hug? Because I'm pretty sure if you've given them hugs and you told them you love them, we wouldn't see as much violence that's going on out here with the youth. I'm not saying that everyone could be saved. I'm not saying young people are not going to do what they do, because they are. All I'm saying is I see more adults over 40, 50 years old who spend so much time hanging out. I don't never see them with their kids. And maybe it's not for me to see. But all I'm saying is that when I see these kids, I don't see them with their parents either. So I put two and two together. Parents hanging out doing their thing, kids hanging out doing their thing. But kids going to be lost because they have no guidance. Listen, too much violence going on in the world. All I got to say is please, please, please pray for your kids. Pray for this world. Pray for the violence to stop. All right. And I'm going to answer this quick question, then I'm going to go. Question at this post say, do you think DC will ever get back to affordable? Do you think DC will ever get back to affordable? That question right there is contingent upon the economy. DC pays a lot, especially with the government workers. If a lot of people lose their job and we hit a recession, yes, it'll get back to affordable because the prices will eventually drop. But as long as people continuously move in, as long as people can continue to pay what the prices are right now, and as long as people have jobs, the answer will be no. No, because they're making money. The more something, supply and demand, the more people want it, the higher they're willing to pay for it, the higher the demand, the more people going to, and it all goes back to greed as well too. So do I think DC will ever get back to affordable? If we hit a recession, yes. If we don't, no. As long as people have jobs, no. If people don't have jobs, yes. So, real quick before I go, please follow me on all social media platforms. I know this show's been a little longer than I normally have it, but please follow me on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, and I appreciate you all. Y'all have a great weekend, and we're going into June, y'all. See you next week. Thank you.